Thank you for making time. This is what you can expect.
The pain of losing an entire family.
I called his son's phone. Someone else answered and told me the same. But now this person told me that the boy, the owner of the phone, has died on the spot.
Nuclear family composed of father, mother and 2 children lost to the cruel hand of death in a span of 2 months.
Also tonight, harrowing details of a near-death experience.
Sharon told me that the governor of Migori, Okoth Obado, through his personal assistants, Michael Oyamo, wants to meet us.
Detectives begin piecing together Sharon Otieno's last moments as journalist in abduction and murder case speaks out.
Plus, fueling Kenyans' hope.
The government needs to intervene. Tuone kama hii 16% ya mafuta itaondolewa.
Bungoma High Court slams the brakes on the 16% VAT on fuel until President signs or rejects Finance Amendment Bill.
Also tonight, a vote of no confidence.
Voted yes.
A court order to counter.
Therefore, the yes have it.
Nairobi MCA's vote to impeach Nairobi Speaker Beatrice Elachi, but she's not going down without a fight.
NTV Tonight with Mark Masai and Gladys Gachanja.
Thank you for making time. Our sign language interpreter tonight is David Agondoa.
A top story. Imagine burying a grandchild in July and then having to bury your son, his wife, and your other grandson 7 weeks later.
This is a scenario that a family in Ruiru is dealing with after 4 members of one family were wiped out in a span of less than 2 months.
A couple and their son perished in a road accident last Thursday, while their other daughter died after a short illness just in July.
NTV's Brenda Wanga reports on the tragedy that has left the extended family members confounded.
At Mzee Gikonyo's home in Ruiru, members of the Church Women Guild have gathered. Their voices raised in songs of condolences to a family in mourning. Inside, mothers, fathers, sisters and aunts quietly processing the tragedy that has befallen them. This is the family of Peter and Zipporah Kimani and their 2 children, David and Grace, all now deceased. Peter, Zipporah and David passed away in a road accident last Thursday along the Nairobi-Naivasha road.
They left their place in Odero at around 7. They were going for burial in Molo of a brother to their friend.
Their journey would come to an end at Kinungi when their vehicle was involved in a head-on collision with a speeding vehicle. The phone call when it came was devastating.
I got a call from my brother's phone at around 8. So when I called back, it was a strange number that answered, a strange voice. Then the person told me that your brother has asked me to call you and he's been involved in a accident and you're taking him to hospital in Naivasha. So I thought maybe that person was a con man or something. I called his wife's number, it was off. I called his son's phone. Someone else answered and told me the same. But now this person told me that the boy, the owner of the phone, has died on the spot, together with a lady that was also in the same car.
According to the family, the driver of the Subaru vehicle had been warned of speeding in Naivasha minutes before the crash.
They had actually been arrested in Naivasha. That's what we gathered from the police on the site. They had been arrested and they were given a ticket to go to the court.
Peter survived the accident, but he lost the fight for his life moments later. The deaths of the 3 members of the same family came just a month after they had laid to rest 24-year-old Grace Kimani, their only daughter.
The daughter was unwell, just got sick for just 1 week, and then she died. So it's quite tragic.
The deaths have had a devastating effect on the parents of both parents.
It was devastating, especially because Mom was in my house. She had not gone back after the burial of the girl, so she thought she would spend some time with Zipporah, and that's what she did.
Although this family has had its winds knocked out of their sails, they are not holding grudges against the occupants of the vehicle that crashed into their kin's vehicle.
We are praying for them. We're praying for that couple that they may get well. Yeah. We don't want to lose 5 people in one accident.
I've been wondering what exactly, how to explain this, but we don't want to leave it to God.
The now deceased family was in the process of constructing their home here in Ruiru. They had planned to move in before December. Plans have now changed. The grounds are being cleared for the funeral service that will be held here next Tuesday. The remains of the rest of these family members will be laid to rest right next to the late Grace's grave, bringing them together in death, just as close as they were in life. Brenda Wanga, NTV, in Ruiru.
May their souls rest in peace. To another tragic story, autopsy results for slain Rongo University student Sharon Otieno will be released tomorrow after both the government and private pathologists concluded the post-mortem on her body this afternoon at Rachonyo District Hospital.
One of the main suspects in the murder remains in police custody. At the same time, the university fraternity led by the Vice-Chancellor Samuel Gudu is demanding justice and calling on the police to be swift with investigations.
Michael Oyamo, the man at the center of Sharon Otieno's murder mystery, will remain in police custody after the investigators successfully moved the court to detain him further. The police told the court that they are still conducting investigations and will wish to have the suspect in custody for that duration. The court will, however, hear the case on Monday before deciding whether to release Oyamo or not. In the meantime, investigations into the cause of Sharon Otieno's death was carried out this afternoon at the Rachonyo District Hospital. The post-mortem was done in the presence of family and government pathologists and witnessed by the relatives. The immediate cause of her death were established as wounds in her body, but this will be conclusively stated when the results are released tomorrow to the family and the media. Sharon's body was discovered yesterday morning at Kodera Forest after allegedly being abducted together with a Daily Nation newspaper reporter who escaped from the abductors. Today, the students of Rongo universities were more calm, but the administration was speaking.
What has happened to Beryl has given us a bit of sorrow, and at the end of it, we pray and believe that those who abducted Beryl will be caught up with, and the law takes its full course.
The Vice-Chancellor urged the police to conclude the investigations without delay. In the meantime, the homicide squad sent to Homa Bay from the Directorate of Criminal Investigations continue with their probe. Governor Bado, who has been linked to the murder, has however dismissed those reports and claims, urging the police to conduct their investigations.
Until 3 weeks ago, Nation journalist Barack Odor was just following up a story of love gone sour.
A former civic leader in Homa Bay contacted him, telling him he had a story about a relationship involving Migori Governor Okoth Obado and 26-year-old Sharon Otieno.
Barack Odor tonight reveals the finer details of a kidnap incident that ended up with a death and how he escaped death by a whisker.
Came to know Sharon was about 3 to 4 weeks ago. That one could qualify to be a month ago. I was in my workstation within Homa Bay town. This particular person called Lawrence Muller. Lawrence Muller is a former MCA of Kanyadoto. Kanyadoto is a ward within Homa Bay County. He came and told me that he has a friend who wants my help as a journalist. This is the first day I interviewed Sharon. On this day I took several of these photos, and I took photos of WhatsApp conversations. So I asked the lady again, so you've brought all this, you have all this evidence. When did the governor supported you last financially, because you claim the governor has abandoned you? She told me about 2 to 3 weeks ago, the governor gave me about 100,000 shillings. Then I told her, then the governor has not abandoned you, because if somebody gave you 300,000. If somebody gave you 100,000 about 2 to 3 weeks ago, how does that one now result to abandonment? She said, no, you do not understand how the governor was treating me. This matter of 100,000 and what was nothing. I could get any amount I wanted from the governor. I could even cheat him, I'm sick. He could give me even 200,000 to 300,000. She played for me her recording. The recording was between the governor and her. They were speaking in vernacular. The governor was pleading with her to do an abortion. And she was hesitant. The governor was telling her, no, if you want to be a good girl, you should just do what I've told you. I'm going to give you money to ensure that you have done abortion. You know, I'm a big person. I cannot endure such kind of shame. Somebody called me around 10. The person identified himself as the governor of Migori. I asked him, where have you gotten my number? He told me, see, I've gotten your number from my friend. Then I asked him, are you aware of this lady called Sharon? He told me, yeah, I know her. Sharon claims that she's pregnant because of you and you've abandoned her. She told me that that is a matter I can neither agree or deny. He told me that particular lady wants to blackmail me with the pregnancy matter. And so because of that, all this matter you will be dealing with through my personal assistant. Sharon told me that the governor of Migori, Okoth Obado, through his personal assistants, Michael Oyamo, wants to meet us. We went with Sharon to Rongo Town. On reaching Rongo Town, I suggested that we have a meeting at a hotel called Grasha. Then we saw two men standing by the roadside. Sigari ka park sideways. Venye amefungua tu mlango hivi, mtu mmoja akaingia pali pake venye alikaa next to Sharon. Mtu mwingine akakuja akanishongeza forcefully hivi, akafunga mlango, gari ikatoka. Gari ikatoka few meters, ndio akasema, they started with me eti, funga simu yako. These guys had weapons. And the other guy who was sitting next to Sharon was asking her, how have you known this guy? And the co-driver was saying, you guys have ever wanted to see the governor. We are taking you to see him. You do not need to get worried. Those ones were the last conversations before I jumped out of the moving car. When the vehicle went some meters, they stopped. The two people who came was this person who was next to me. Alitoka nje na yule co-driver. Yule jamaa alikuwa na Sharon ni kama alibaki tu naye kwa gari. They came running towards me. Alafu nikamka ndio nikakimbia. I thought they could not execute her.
More details to this sad story that led to the death of Sharon Otieno, and definitely we're glad that Barack is safe, and we will be getting more details to this, following it up as we wait for the autopsy results on this.
Well, to a story that's bound to put a smile on your face. You can now breathe a sigh of relief after the High Court sitting in Bungoma suspended the implementation of a 16% value-added tax on fuel.
The decision by the court temporarily puts the brakes on days of a fuel crisis that has been deepening in most parts of the country.
NTV Silas Apollo has been following up the story for the better part of a day and filed this report.
In the decision made by the High Court in Bungoma late today, Justice Stephen Riechi advised the Kenya Revenue Authority against implementing the VAT on fuel. His ruling read in part, "It is hereby ordered that temporary conservatory orders be and are hereby granted, quashing the decision by the Kenya Revenue Authority and the Energy Regulatory Commission to implement the Finance Act 2013, levying 16% VAT on petroleum products to enable the President to either send to or reject the amended finance bill passed by the National Assembly. This, he said, should be so until the case filed before him is mentioned next week." The ruling was based on a petition which was filed by a lobby group from Kisumu, which argued that Treasury Cabinet Secretary Henry Rotich had flouted core constitutional rights by introducing the new taxes. Justice Riechi further ordered that the matter be mentioned on September 12, 2018 at the Kisumu High Court. The ruling, however, contrasts a ruling from a similar petition filed by activist Okiya Mutata, but which the High Court sitting in Nairobi failed to grant on grounds that President Uhuru Kenyatta was yet to assent to the amendments done by Parliament. But even as the Bungoma court made the ruling,
these long queues have been the scene in most petrol stations here in Nairobi for the better part of today. Motorists lining for long hours in search of the now rare commodity, petrol.
Queue, it's like 100 meters and queue almost 2 hours. Ikigojea kufikiwa. So mimi venye naweza sema the government needs to intervene. Tuone kama hii 16% ya mafuta itaondolewa ndio at least mwananchi wa kawaida asiteseke.
In the Westlands area, most of the petrol stations we visited were empty. Only 2 of the many that we visited had clients, but them too had to wait in long queues.
Tumeshindwa ni nini? Sababu tuliangalia magazeti inasoma 127. Hata ukiangalia hiyo mbao inasoma 127. Ambapo 127 ni bei kali zaidi ile hata mimi mwenyewe sijawahi shuhudia wakati mwingine.
Petrol stations in other parts of the city, including Jogo Road, industrial area and even upmarket areas of Hurlingham, had exhausted fuel supplies. The case was no different across the country, as most petrol stations turned motorists away for lack of fuel. In Murang'a, some motorists were forced to carry extra containers, while others devised new ways of storing fuel as a shortcut to the shortages.
Gari mingi zangu zimelara mahali sababu hakuna mafuta. Kama hapa ukiona ndipo nakunywanga mafuta, nimekuja kukunywa nikaambiwa hakuna.
At the industrial area depot, the scene of most of the protest by the independent truckers yesterday, normalcy was slowly returning after a contingent of GSU officers moved in to end the strike. But even as this happened, with a few trucks allowed to leave to bridge the deficit in petrol stations in town, the independent truckers vowed to soldier on with their go-slow. The tax was first introduced on petrol, diesel, kerosene and jet fuel in the VAT Act of 2013. It was to be implemented in 2016, but MPs pushed it to September 2018. Silas Apollo, NTV.
Well, meanwhile, the ERC is yet to make a statement on this and make changes, so probably that won't translate to a change at the pump for you. But we'll see whether there will be a response or whether they'll wait for the president to assent or reject that bill. Meanwhile, Treasury Cabinet Secretary today, Henry Rotich, held a closed-door meeting with National Assembly Speaker Justin Muturi over matters arising from amendments done by legislators on the 2018 finance bill that was recently passed by members of Parliament, including the suspension of the implementation of the 16% VAT tax on petroleum products.
CS Rotich says this is just one of a series of meetings to be held in an attempt to resolve the issues caused by the 16% VAT on petroleum products.
After more than 3 hours, CS Rotich and Speaker Muturi came out of the closed-door meeting at Parliament buildings that also included Attorney General Paul Kihara, National Assembly Majority Leader Aden Duale, Deputy Chief of Staff in the Office of the President Nji Muturi, and the chairpersons of the Budget and Finance Committees of the House. Though the team did not reveal the specifics of the agenda of the meeting, sources privy to the meeting informed NTV that one of the main agendas was the current ongoing implementation of the 16% VAT tax on petroleum products that has sharply increased prices of petroleum products and the cost of other goods and services.
Just to try and address the issues that you've raised, and this was just the first meeting, and I can assure you that going forward we will be able to address whatever issues may be of concern to Kenyans.
We have started the consultations today, and it is the first of the series of meetings that we are going to have with a view to deal with the issue at hand.
CS Rotich is said to have absolved himself from any blame on the controversial 16% VAT, saying Treasury was implementing the VAT law that was enacted through the 2013 finance bill, and that the only people who can give a way forward on the matter is the executive. Other sources informed NTV that among topics that were discussed was whether to reduce the 16% VAT tax to 12% and thereafter cut down budgets of several ministries to cover the revenue shortfall. The meeting is said to have ended without a clear way forward, with members agreeing to retreat for further consultations on the matters. Treasury is said to be trying to push for the reinstatement of some of the tax proposals that legislators shot down, like the Robin Hood tax, which is about increased tax on intra-bank or cross-bank cash transfers above 500,000 shillings, including the 0.05% excise duty that was to be applied on individuals transferring money through agencies or other financial service providers. Vincent Odwor, NTV.
Away from that, a Chinese national who called a Kenyan employee and Kenyans at large monkeys has been deported and will leave the country at 10:45 tonight.
Liu Jiakai, I believe that's his name, Ashindwe is not his name, but shame on him, was captured on camera expressing racist sentiments in an argument with a member of staff at Sonlink Kenya Limited, a motorcycle assembly plant situated along the eastern bypass in Ruiru.
NTV's Charity Mwangi with more.
Everyone, every Kenyan, even Anna, again, this is all the Kenyans, like a monkey.
It is a recording that was shared recently on social media, but the event is said to have taken place as back as February.
Even Uhuru, Kenyatta, all of them.
It's like a monkey.
Yeah, sure.
The president of this country.
Yeah, sure.
This is Liu Jiakai, the CEO of Sonlink Kenya Limited, making utterances offensive to the Kenyan public. The company that assembles and distributes motorbikes in Kenya and other countries in Africa and the Middle East stands to lose traction in Kenya owing to his reckless words.
I don't like here, like a monkey people. I don't like talk with them. Smell is bad, and poor, and foolish, and black. Who like them? Why not the bright people? Like the American.
His arrogance seems to have caught up with him. No sooner had the video gone online, he was arrested and processed for deportation. This, however, is not unique behavior, as most of the Chinese at the company share a similar short fuse and a fiery tongue.
Doing business with them is very hard, and all they do is just harass our people. Sometimes sometimes they even slap them, and it's not good.
Why are you coming to do business in Kenya if we are poor, we are black, for money? Why is it that you need our money?
Money is important.
At the company's headquarters, housed at the Cape Business Park along the eastern bypass, a padlock on the iron gates, yielding nothing about the company, whose boss had shown a dark side to the growing Chinese influence. There have been complaints about the treatment of Kenyans by their Chinese bosses, not just here, but also within the ongoing construction of the standard gauge railway, where some workers have decried cruel Chinese masters, and at Sonlink, workers are none too pleased.
Like now, that one company, there are 12 Chinese and about 6 Kenyans or 7 Kenyans. There are 12 Chinese doing nothing. Yeah, these 12 Chinese, there are 12 Kenyans who could be having these jobs.
Although their offices are closed for now, according to the management here at the Cape Business Park, it is only a matter of time and they will be back owing to the amount of business that they have been making from Kenyans. Charity Mwangi, NTV.
In the words of former President Mwai Kibaki, bure kabisa. And at least get the name right. It's not Uhuru, it is Uhuru Kenyatta. But at least he's learned his lesson. At least this will serve as a lesson that they have no right. No one has a right to do that. We'll take a break at this point. I'm sure we need one.
Yes, we do. We'll be back with much more. Nairobi County Speaker Beatrice Elachi has obtained an order stopping her impeachment moments after Nairobi MCAs voted 103-2 in favor of impeaching her. The Labour Relations Court issued conservatory orders prohibiting the County Assembly and the Public Service Board from removing her as a speaker. NTV's Kevin Mutai with more.
At 2:30 p.m. on Thursday, Nairobi members of the County Assembly convened for a special sitting, and among the top items on their agenda was to table a motion seeking to impeach Beatrice Elachi as the Speaker of the County Assembly. The motion mover, Waithaka MCA Gladys Gachanja, presented his petition.
Which denied her proxies and the associated companies.
In his petition, Gachanja accused Elachi of interfering with the process of awarding a tender to purchase the residence of the Speaker, saying that procurement procedures were not followed. He added that the amount recommended for the purchase of the house exceeded by 25 million shillings, saying that she used her position to intimidate the staff and the Public Service Board, among other accusations. But in her defense, Elachi said the impeachment motion was orchestrated by individuals who want to subvert her efforts in fighting corruption.
And I would wish also Treasury maybe to help me, because you know, when you pay people on IFMIS, it's not something that is running away. It will show that we have never denied anyone to travel, as long as you are telling us this is a travel of benchmarking, this is what you are going to bring back home, and this is how it is going to support Kenya.
103 members of the Assembly voted in favor of the impeachment, therefore achieving the two-thirds majority required by law to oust the Speaker.
Therefore, the yes have it.
The Assembly also amended the House procedures in the removal of a Speaker, stating that Elachi will not be required to appear before an ad hoc committee to defend herself as lawfully required. Their approach came after some MCAs claimed that Elachi failed to honor their summons to appear before the House to respond to the allegations. A few minutes later, Elachi obtained a court order from Lady Justice Maureen Onyango of the Labour and Relations Court, prohibiting the MCAs and the Public Service Board from interfering with her duties as the Speaker until the matter undergoes an inter-parties hearing. Elachi petitioned the court to the effect that her impeachment amounted to unlawful dismissal from employment.
Today's outcome at the Nairobi County Assembly is what the MCAs terms as a milestone, but it is not yet over because Beatrice Elachi has another step to take, which is to seek legal representation on the matter. Kevin Mutai, NTV, in Nairobi County.
Well, Kericho County will be unveiling its first batch of graduates from its youth empowerment program on Friday. The more than 700 youth will be passing out at the Kericho Green Stadium, where Bridget Ngane is with the Governor, Professor Paul Chepkwony, to shed more light on the initiative. Bridget?
Well, Gladys, it is a very chilly evening here at the Kericho Green Stadium, and just as you have mentioned, I'm with the governor of this county, Professor Paul Chepkwony, who is also the chair of the Culture, Gender and Sports Committee in the Council of Governors. I think I've confused myself, but the governor is just going to tell us about this committee. But most importantly, tomorrow, it's a big day for this county. What have you lined up for the youth of this county, and why did you choose to have this youth empowerment program?
Thank you, Bridget. I would like to say that, first of all, I'm the chairman, Gender, Culture, Sports, Social Services, Education at the Council of Governors.
Yes.
Tomorrow, the youth of Kericho County, and we took 25 youths per ward.
Yes.
And there'll be 750 of them.
Yes.
Will be passing out. They've been in for an intensive training.
Use my mic.
They've been in for an intensive training for the last 3 months and a half, and these youths will be employed automatically tomorrow. We had to create this program on the understanding that the youth of this country are jobless, and beginning with Kericho, we decided that we will take them through a national youth service-like program where they were trained on various entrepreneurial skills, where they were trained on so many aspects of enforcement. Some will be participating in enforcement of environmental issues. Some will be taking care of traffic. Others will be involved in revenue collection. So all of them will come out and they will be employed.
Maybe in this session, this is the first time this county is doing this. Why did you decide to take it your initiative as the Kericho County government, yet we still have NYS that is also able to train this youth in this way? And how best, also, what is the unique aspect of this training and how is it addressing the country's problem of youth unemployment?
Thank you very much, Bridget. This is not a paramilitary training. NYS is a paramilitary training which has been developed through an act of parliament. What we've done in Kericho County is to look at the youth, especially who have not gone to college. Yes. And we targeted especially those with D- and below, because they also need a living. So what we did was to take them for this intensive training. We trained them on all the skills that are required at that level, so that when they come out, some will be working in our polytechnics, some will be manning some of our strategic infrastructure. And as they do that, we also incorporate them into workforce of Kericho County, and they'll be earning a living through that kind of engagement.
Tell us the creativity behind this, because as a county, you're cash strapped. You need to think of ways of how you're going to train these people, because they're coming for training depending on the county to train them, and also maybe afterwards give them opportunity.
Now, what we did was to enhance revenue collection, because what is needed at the end of the day is salary to pay this youth. And without a salary, it's impossible to create a youth program. Number two, we are going to stop all procurement services for security in this county, and instead convert the money that would go into those services into youth empowerment programs. And then finally, what we've done is to seal every loophole of seepage in terms of revenue losses. And when we did that, we realized we have some excess money which then could be used to employ these youths who are jobless.
Okay. So Gladys, that's just a brief snippet of what's going to be happening here tomorrow. And one of the main pointers that the governor himself is saying is that this county will no longer be seeking to hire or outsource security services. They have youth who are willing to take up that responsibility at the cost of this county. But tomorrow, keep it tuned on NTV, where we'll be having this function live during the morning session, during our morning broadcasts. Gladys.
Thank you, Bridget Sangana, coming to us live from Kericho County, and our team will be moving on to Nakuru County, where NTV is on the road. Trevor Salim Swale and a bunch of other NTV colleagues will be in that county. Make sure you find out where they are, and we'll be telling you more about that NTV on the road tomorrow on NTV Today. Now, a family in Shanzu, Mombasa County, claims to have found their daughter who was abducted 9 years ago. Yasmin Mohammed was abducted at the age of 6 months by unknown men in March 2009.
Mahamoud Burey is visibly beside himself with emotions, a mixture of relief and regret as he recalls the years he had missed out in his daughter's life, but just as happy that she was finally traced.
Nilikuja kama saa 12:15 nyumbani. Nikakuta watu wengi hapa nje. Hapo kwetu sasa, hali tulikuwa tunaishi. Nikakuta watu wengi, nikashangaa ni watu. Kuna nini leo hapa? Na mtu alifariki hapo. Nikaja kufika hapo, nikasalamia wale walikuwa nje pale, nikauliza kuna shida gani hapo? Wakanambia kuna kisange zilitokea hapo kwako usiku. Kuna watu wameingia hapo ndani. Wakampiga bibi yako na watoto, wakachukua mtoto ule mdogo.
Yasmin Mohammed, now in Standard 4, was abducted by unknown men in the year 2009 when she was only 6 months old. 9 years on, should be identified by a relative at Kizungutini in Lamu County, thanks to the family resemblance. She has been staying with a lady identified as Mariam, who had changed Yasmin's name to Neema.
Sikuamini kama ni yeye, lakini nasema tu wacha, Mungu ni mkubwa, wacha niende nikaangalie. Nikaenda, nikaangalie. Hasa nilipoenda nikafuatana na huyo paka kule. Kufika pale hata mimi sikupita pale kwa police station. Nikatuma huyo na askari.
The child, now in class 4, is currently at a children's home in Mombasa, while her alleged parents are expected in court on Monday after the DNA test results are released, while her alleged abductor is in police custody. Achieng Wimbley, NTV.
Some great news there. We take another short break on NTV Tonight. Mark Masai will be back with the business news. Stay with us.
Time for Biashara. The financial problems facing Mumias Sugar Company are far from over. This follows new orders that have paved the way for its property to be auctioned to recover debts owed to various individuals. A section of farmers have, however, vowed to block any kind of auction, saying it will make the already bad situation worse. Here's Akias Mosame with more.
The orders to auction some of the assets belonging to Mumias Sugar Company have been received with rejection. A former communication officer at the factory, Lillian Luther, was granted orders to auction the factory's assets due to the accrued debts that it has been unable to settle. Farmers contracted by the company say this is a plot by a few individuals to fully paralyze the factory, which has for long been the backbone of the region's economy. They say the order must be met with resistance from all quarters. Mumias Sugar has been facing a number of challenges, including the recent dismissal of former managing director National Seka over alleged mismanagement. Workers at the factory have gone unpaid for 6 months. The giant miller needs a total of 30 billion shillings if it is to fully resume all its operations.
But at this time, to come and auction the company's property when we need this company properties now like never before, I think this is not fair. And we are not even being fair to our farmers and the next generation.
Kwa nini mfanyakazi wa Mumias Sugar Company ambaye amebenefit hapa katika Mumias Sugar Company akuje ku-auction mashine ya Mumias Sugar Company? Kwa hivyo sisi tunasema kama wakaazi wa hapa hatutakubali jambo hilo litendeke tukiwa hapa. Tunakubali tutakufa hapa, lakini hakuna mtu ambaye atabeba mali ya Mumias Sugar Company. Huu ndio uhai wetu.
As management and litigation continue to ravage the company, the hope that its fortunes will change for the better seems like a fading dream, but one which still needs to be chased.
One of the vehicles listed for auctioning by Pamela Luta is my vehicle. This time I'm not even using it because it can be grabbed anytime. So you can see even this is limiting my operation, and I don't know if it continues, whether it's going to be possible for me to operate. Two, the vehicles that are listed, they are not even enough to pay all the debts.
Zakis Masame, NTV, Kakamega.
Kenyans are among the early adopters of Bitcoin, but this is not to say that the country's financial system is ready to use a cryptocurrency as legal tender. At a public forum on cryptocurrencies organized by the Institute of Economic Affairs, the Kenya Bankers Association stated that cryptocurrencies can be beneficial to the financial system, but they still have attendant risks, taking a similar position to that of the Central Bank of Kenya. Victor Kiprop attended the forum, and here's what he gleaned from it.
According to a Citibank survey released in December 2017, Kenya is ranked among countries with the largest Bitcoin holdings, worth 163 billion shillings, approximately 2.3% of the country's GDP. The survey puts Kenya in the 5th position, behind Russia, New Zealand, Nigeria and Ukraine in the list of countries with the largest Bitcoin holdings as a percentage of GDP, and slightly ahead of South Africa, the United Kingdom and Colombia. Although some Kenyans have readily adopted the cryptocurrency, the central bank is still urging caution as far as its assimilation into the formal financial system is concerned, a position which the Kenya Bankers Association has lent its support to.
The fact that you have something that is readily acceptable as a means of payment does not necessarily mean that it meets the characteristics of a currency.
Despite the growing popularity, challenges and risks associated with the nature of cryptocurrencies, such as high volatility, cybersecurity risk, and the lack of regulation to govern their use, have greatly hindered the mass adoption of the virtual currencies and blockchain, the technology which they run on.
Whereas there's that promise of opportunity, you have to be very wary of the kind of risks that come with it. And those are the realities that the financial system has to contend with as they embrace these new emerging technologies.
We believe that there is opportunity for blockchain within the banking system. The benefit being that the transactions within the banks can be put on a blockchain and therefore have better reliability.
The creation of a government-sanctioned digital currency has already been floated by the Blockchain and Artificial Intelligence Task Force, which was set up in February by the ICT Cabinet Secretary to provide a roadmap for the adoption of blockchain technology.
You would create a token that is pegged on your fiat money. So you are still in control, but you're leveraging that on the blockchain framework. So it will not be a crypto in the sense of Bitcoin. It's a token that will be pegged on the existing, legal tender.
Cryptocurrencies, which allow anyone to send money across borders almost instantly at a relatively lower cost, have become more popular in recent years. Some businesses in Kenya, including Betty's Place in Nyeri, have already taken the plunge to transact on the new platform, even as regulators in the world over still fret on whether or not to fully embrace it. Victor Kiprop, NTV Business.
Mango farming is one of the most attractive economic activities in the county of Elgeyo Marakwet due to the warm and humid climatic conditions. However, fruit flies have been a great challenge for the farmers there, causing huge losses. But as Gabriel Kudaka reports, a team of university graduates who underwent training in agricultural technology for 1 year in Israel is helping to reverse the mango farmers' declining fortunes by sharing their expertise with them at the Kericho Valley.
For more than 20 years, mango farming has been the main source of income for Francis Kiplagat. But like other farmers in this region, fruit flies are a source of trouble for him.
Challenges kabisa ambayo imekuwa tukisumbua sisi ni mambo ya fruit fly. Na nashukuru watu ya Isibe, watu ya Kevis wametusaidia sana jinsi ya kutrap hizi fruit fly.
Due to this infestation, mangoes from this region have not met the stringent threshold required for access to the international market, especially the European Union, which has stood as a ready importer.
You know, the mango fruit itself does not look that attractive because of either weather conditions or insects.
In a bid to reverse the trend, the Ministry of Agriculture dispatched a team of 120 students to Israel to learn best farming practices. They recently returned and are assisting farmers tackle the various challenges they face. The students, who are all graduates of agricultural technology from Kenyan universities, will be sharing their expertise as extension officers.
The technology which is there in Israel is the use of sterile males. These sterile males for example, they differentiate the issues to do with the female and the males. And you know, one secret to do with the Mediterranean fruit fly, it mates once per its lifetime.
If all the farmers embrace this technology, then we will be able to see a good produce, good results that will impact the larger economy.
Besides providing a future for the students in agriculture, the use of advanced farming methods will also promote food security, putting Kenya firmly on the path towards a healthy nation. Gabriel Kudaka, NTV.
Gabriel winds up business, but we'll leave you with the stock activity of the day.
NTV Financial Report in association with University of Nairobi. Join the renowned University of Nairobi School of Business for market-driven and internationally accredited courses in postgraduate and undergraduate studies offered in September 2018. The programs are offered in Nairobi, Kisumu, Mombasa, and Eldoret Learning Center.
Welcome back. The Kenya National Union of Teachers is accusing the Teacher Service Commission of damaging their reputation after it released a statement that allegedly went against the discussions they held on the 23rd of August.
The union's leaders are threatening to call for a strike if all their grievances are not addressed during a scheduled retreat between the two parties at the end of the month.
NTV's Sharon Otieno with more.
The top leadership of the biggest teachers' union in the country was here to counter a statement issued by the Teacher Service Commission released on 24th August 2018, a day after the two parties had a consultative meeting. The union termed the statement dishonest and one that was damaging their reputation.
The Teacher Service Commission high-ranking officers have mounted a spirited attack on Kenya national leadership.
In the statement, TSC had denied that they discussed promotion of 30,000 teachers, saying issues raised by NAT on delocalization, teacher appraisal programs and career progression are to be discussed during a retreat scheduled at the end of the month between them and NAT. The statement goes on to say that the teacher appraisal system will continue, and on the other hand, NAT advised its members not to participate in the exercise.
The communications very clearly are very provocative, and that is why we've had to set the record straight. We've been branded as liars, that we've been misinforming the public, that even we did not discuss promotion, when in fact on the invitation letter, item number 1 is on promotion.
The union leadership has only been articulating the issues that were deliberated upon in that meeting.
The union also wants the teachers' employer to withdraw Shoko's letters issued to some of their members from Masaba who are accused of burning copies of teacher performance appraisal and development.
If they don't withdraw those warning letters, we will bring out teachers in this country. That they can take it to the bank.
The union leaders maintain that should the retreat set to take place at the end of the month fail to address their issues, then industrial action will be there anytime from 5th October. If this happens, then the timetable for end-of-term exams will be interfered with. Sharon Otieno, NTV, Nairobi.
The Kenya Forest Service has, if we can get our story, has issued a 14 days ultimatum to sawmillers to pay the Kenya Forest Service money owed.
KFS says millers owe 1.2 billion shillings and failure by the sawmillers to pay back the money will automatically lead to disqualification from the pre-qualification process.
KFS has announced that it will utilize their e-registration service to carry out their pre-qualification process as a means to establish authentic industry players.
The Kenya Forest Service says there are still tremendous challenges such as mismanagement of the sawmilling industry, which have led to huge losses in revenue. Some key players were reportedly subletting their licenses to other sawmillers who had not been pre-qualified.
Issues related to mismanagement of this subsector, where some of the sawmillers who had been pre-qualified were subletting their licenses to other sawmillers who had not been pre-qualified. And this is not allowed within the rules that govern sawmilling in this country. Once you have been pre-qualified, you are supposed to do the sawmilling yourself.
The ongoing ban on logging has also distorted the markets, leading to the high cost of timber, which further encouraged unlawful harvesting to meet the demand. The body stated that they implemented the plantation of exotic plantations, which take between 25 to 30 years to mature, thus being harvested thereafter for commercial use. It had been reported that there was collusion between sawmillers and forest officers to undervalue forest materials and unauthorized harvesting of plantation materials. The service has called for a meeting with the sawmillers on the 12th of September to deliberate on the best approaches to streamline the industry. Helen Aura, NTV.
Time for the sporting action. Brian Otwal is next. Stay tuned.
Let's have a look at the day's sports news. Welcome, my name is Brian Otwal. Ghana's Black Stars coach Kwesi Appiah has urged his team not to underrate Kenya's Harambee Stars in their Africa Cup of Nations 2019 qualifier at the Kasarani Stadium on Saturday. Ghana, who had been camping in Ethiopia this week, arrived in the country this evening ahead of the clash, whose result will best highlight their respective chances of playing at next year's Africa Cup of Nations in Cameroon. There is a return for Inter Milan utility Kwadwo Asamoah after 4 years of national team football exile. Meanwhile, Stars under coach Sebastian Minye desperately need a win after a 2-1 loss suffered in the first round matches away to Sierra Leone June last year. Ghana top Group F after a 5-0 win over Sierra Leone. The second place team in each group will also qualify for the finals.
They are a good team. You can never underrate them. You know, it's important you prepare well, you know, to play them. It's not going to be easy. You know, the mere fact that we're playing away and they're playing with their home supporters. It's the only thing that I can do is to make sure I put out a good team, you know, so that they can at least give a good performance.
And former Athletics Kenya Vice President David Okeyo, who was last week banned from the sport for life for siphoning sponsorship funds, has been cleared of extorting money from athletes in exchange for lighter sentences in doping cases. Okeyo, a former member of the IAAF Council and former CEO of Kenya, that is of AK, Isaac Mwangi, were both cleared of extortion charges by an IAAF ethics board. Despite the verdicts, however, the panel noted deep concerns about the evidence and the procedures as well as the structures of the sports governing body in Kenya, the dominant force in distance running for decades, and said that extortion may well have taken place and recommended changes. And the Kenya Simbas could play 2 matches against Namibia in October as part of the preparations for the November's repechage. Namibian media is reporting that there are discussions between Kenya and Namibia, which may result in matches being played on 21st and 28th October in Kenya. It's also understood that Kenya is planning friendlies with South African-based clubs and European opponents. The repechage will be held in Marseille, France from the 10th of November, with other 3 teams being Germany, Canada and Hong Kong. The winner of the repechage will qualify for the World Cup to complete Pool B that has New Zealand, South Africa, Italy and Namibia. And the Kenyan Premier League has partnered with the Zeb Strong Foundation to launch a 7-a-side Inmates Premier League, that is Inmates Premier League, which will see 25 teams from the Committee Maximum Prison and the Naivasha Maximum Prison compete for glory. The launch was done at the Committee Maximum Prison and saw AFC Leopards take on Committee All-Stars in an entertaining, friendly 7-a-side match. Playing on a maram and gravel surface, Committee All-Stars took a 3-1 first half lead before FC Leopards came back strongly in the second half to force a 3-3 draw. Former Harambee Stars, FC Leopards and Mathare United defender Anthony Kimani was named the league ambassador. KPL also donated 10 footballs to Committee Inmates Football Association. And KCB Football Club has sacked head coach John Kamau. Assistant coach Elvis Ayan will steer the team during the remaining fixtures of the National Super League as the Bankers aim for a return to the top flight football. KCB FC is currently in 4th place in the NSL standings with 7 games to go before the end of the season. All right, that's all we had for you from our sporting desk. Have a lovely night. My name is Brian Otwal.
Well, time to call it a night. Thank you for your company, and a special thank you to David Agondoa, who was our sign language interpreter tonight. My name is Gladys Gachanja.
My name is Mark Masai on behalf of the team that made this possible. Thank you for making it all the more worth it to do this 1 full hour. It's time for Lit 360. Enjoy.